Wanderers. Tonight, the signal bends east, drifting into the rain-slicked alleys of Japan. It carries whispers of a woman who hides her face, and her smile is never what it seems. Stay tuned, for the frequency is fixed now. It carries the tale of Kuchisake-Onna, the slit-mouthed woman.
Imagine walking home late at night. The hour is late enough that the shops have closed, but not so late that the city has gone completely silent. The rain has only just stopped. The air is cool and heavy, filled with the scent of damp concrete and earth. Neon signs flicker above shuttered storefronts, their colours stretching and shimmering across puddles that pool in the uneven cracks of the road. You step carefully, the splash of water reminding you that you are the only sound in the street. The hum of a vending machine buzzes faintly on the corner, that familiar mechanical whir, glowing like a tiny beacon against the dark. In Japan, these machines are everywhere, standing vigil even when no one else is around. Tonight its sound feels louder, almost intrusive, filling the silence that presses down on you. The street is unusually empty, no passing bicycles, no late trains rattling in the distance. Just the rhythmic tap of your shoes against the wet pavement, each step echoing, bouncing back at you, as if the buildings themselves are listening. Overhead, telephone wires sag across the night sky, buzzing faintly with current. They stretch above you like black veins, and for a moment you wonder if they are carrying whispers instead of electricity. In the alleyways, a pair of stray cats dart away. Their eyes flash in the dim glow of a street lamp before disappearing into shadow. The sound of their paws splashing through shallow puddles reminds you how alone you are. You pass under the weak orange glow of a rusted streetlight. The bulb hums, flickers, and steadies again. The circle of light feels fragile, barely holding back the dark. You realize you are slowing down, unwilling to leave the safety of its glow too quickly. The smell of takoyaki lingers faintly from a closed food stall, sweet and greasy on the damp night air. A row of bicycles leans crookedly under dripping eaves, their chains catching droplets that ping like tiny bells. These little details, so ordinary, so familiar, should comfort you. Instead, they make the silence sharper, and then you see her. A figure stands at the end of the lane. At first glance, nothing unusual. A woman, long dark hair falling over her shoulders, dressed in a pale coat. She holds an umbrella loosely at her side, though the rain has already stopped. A white surgical mask covers her face, as common here as the neon signs above. But something feels wrong. Terribly wrong. She does not move. She does not step aside. She waits. And as you draw closer, her head tilts ever so slightly, a movement too sharp, too unnatural to be casual. Her voice drifts softly across the empty street, muffled by the mask, yet clear enough to freeze you in your tracks.
私綺麗?
Am I beautiful? She asks. Her tone isn't cruel. It isn't even mocking. It's searching, demanding. And somehow, in that moment, you feel that the answer you give could decide whether you walk away or not at all. If you nod, she tilts her head as if amused. Then, slowly, she raises a hand to her face and pulls the mask aside. Beneath it is a smile cut too wide, torn from ear to ear, jagged and glistening. She leans closer, whispering,
これでも
"How about now?" They say hesitation is fatal, that the last thing many ever saw was the glint of her scissors in the moonlight.
Be careful, wanderers. Some signals do not forgive hesitation. If you hear her question through the static, answer wisely or not at all.
Her story has many beginnings, whispered differently in each part of Japan. One tale says she was once the wife of a proud samurai, admired for her beauty, but accused of vanity and betrayal. In a jealous rage, he slashed her mouth open, condemning her to eternal shame. In life, she was silenced by his hand. In death, she would not remain quiet. Others say she was simply a woman punished for daring to step outside expectation. Perhaps she loved another. Perhaps she was too proud of her beauty. Or perhaps she was guilty only of being seen. Her mutilation was not just physical. It was society's way of branding her forever, stripping away voice and dignity. In Edo period Japan, such punishments were not unthinkable. A scar could erase a woman's place in society, turning her beauty into a warning. Cruelty did not always kill. Sometimes it left the living behind, trapped in shame and silence. It was from this world that the onryo emerged. These vengeful spirits, almost always women, returned when wronged so deeply that even death could not restrain them. They were wives betrayed, servants mistreated, lovers abandoned, souls denied peace, their rage and grief strong enough to bend the veil. Kuchisake-Onna belongs to this lineage. She is not an isolated tale of horror, but a thread woven into a tapestry of sorrowful spirits, each born from cruelty. Her scarred smile is not simply her own. It is the echo of many voices, many wounds carried forward into the present. But even the darkest legends leave room for hope, or at least the illusion of it. For Kuchisake-Onna, the Slit-Mouthed Woman, people have long whispered of ways to survive her questions. Children say you can toss candies into her path, bright, sweet distractions that stall her just long enough for you to flee. Others insist the secret lies in words. Do not say yes, do not say no. Instead, give her an answer she cannot expect. Tell her she is average, neither beautiful nor ugly, and her confusion may buy you precious moments to escape. These so-called survival tricks may sound childish, but they carry weight. They show how deeply this tale seeped into everyday life. In 1979, the fear grew so strong that schools across Japan closed their gates, warning children not to walk home alone. Parents huddled in doorways, police increased patrols, and whispers of a woman in a mask spread like wildfire through city streets. What began in the shadows of the Edo period had spilled into the neon glow of modern Japan. Masks no longer belonged only to spirits. They were worn by commuters, by schoolchildren, by neighbors. In a world where everyone could hide behind cloth, the question, "Am I beautiful?" felt uncomfortably close. These myths of survival reveal something more than superstition. They reveal the human need to believe that even in the face of terror, reason or trickery might prevail, that a story of violence could be softened with candy, that a curse could be escaped with a clever word, and perhaps that even the most terrifying spirit still longs to be answered. Yet beneath the fear, there is sorrow. Kuchisake-Onna is not only a hunter in the night, she is the scar of wounds inflicted long ago. Her mask hides more than disfigurement. It hides grief, humiliation, and rage that was never allowed to rest. The onryo, the vengeful women of Japan's folklore, are not monsters born of malice. They are born of betrayal, of cruelty so deep that it followed them beyond the grave. Kuchisake-Onna walks among them, her tragic smile a reminder that pain, once unleashed, can echo across centuries. Her story tells us something vital about the society that shaped it. In times when women had little voice, tales like hers became warnings, both moral and practical. To some, she was a cautionary figure against vanity or disobedience. To others, she was a whispered lesson about the dangers of jealousy and violence within the household. But to many, she became something more. A symbol of sorrow never acknowledged, a spirit who refused to be erased. And perhaps this is why her legend endures. We do not only fear her scissors, her mask, her impossible smile. We feel the weight of her question. Am I beautiful? And we sense what lies beneath it. It is not vanity. It is not cruelty. It is the plea of someone broken, asking if the world can still see them, even in their pain. For children, she is a monster in the dark. For adults, she is something more unsettling. A mirror. A reminder of wounds we hide, scars we pretend do not exist, and voices silenced when they should have been heard. So when the slit-mouthed woman appears in the alley, when her voice whispers from behind the mask, we are not only unsettled by her presence, we are reminded of the shadows humanity itself has cast. Shadows that walk among us still. Even now, whispers of Kuchisake-Onna refuse to fade. In small towns, there are stories of masked women seen walking rural roads just before dusk, lingering at crossroads as though waiting for someone. On late-night subway platforms, commuters have claimed to feel her presence. A woman who steps too close, who lingers in silence before vanishing into the crowd. The unnerving part is how ordinary she can seem. In Japan, masks are everywhere, on trains, in schools, in busy city streets. Her face, half hidden, is no longer unusual. She can blend among the living effortlessly, making her harder than ever to distinguish from reality. Some reports suggest her legend has spread beyond Japan, carried online into urban legends in Korea, China, even the West. In each new telling, her mask changes shape, her clothes adjust with the times, but her question remains the same. Am I beautiful? This ability to adapt is what has kept her story alive. Where other ghosts are bound to shrines, castles, or ancient houses, Kuchisake-Onna walks wherever fear follows. She is as much at home in the neon glow of Shinjuku as she is in the quiet alleys of countryside villages. And she is not alone. Around the world, there are echoes of her grief and her rage. In Mexico, they tell of La Llorona, the weeping woman, doomed to wander riversides in eternal mourning. In Ireland, the banshee wails before death arrives, her cry born not of cruelty, but of sorrow. Across Europe, white ladies drift through castles and forests, betrayed women who cannot rest. Even in the Philippines, the white lady of Ballet Drive steps into the path of cars, her pale figure daring drivers to see her pain. Each story is different, yet the wound beneath is the same. Betrayal, loss, cruelty that left scars too deep to fade. Together they form a chorus, a global archetype of the woman in white, bound by grief and forced to wander. And perhaps this is why Kuchisake-Onna endures. She is not only a Japanese ghost, she is part of something larger, a universal truth, that cruelty leaves echoes, and those echoes take form in the dark. So if one night you find yourself on a lonely street and a woman steps from the shadows with a mask across her face, listen closely when she speaks. If her voice asks you softly, "Watashi, kaire," am I beautiful? Remember that the question is not only hers, it is humanity's question too. For centuries, we have created stories like hers, stories that mask cruelty with myth, that turn pain into spirits, and grief into legend. Kuchisake-Onna is not hunting only for blood. She is hunting for acknowledgement, for someone to see the wound that silenced her, and still speak back to her as if she is human. Perhaps that is why so many tellers of the tale leave space for survival tricks, the candies, the strange answers. They are not only escapes, they are gestures, ways of treating her as more than a monster. The slit-mouthed woman endures because she asks the question no mask can hide. Can you still see me? Even in my brokenness, even in my pain. Her footsteps may be frightening, her smile unbearable, but her story reminds us that behind every ghost is a wound, and behind every wound, a human being who was never healed.
The The slit-mouthed woman fades back into the static, but her question will linger, wanderers. Long after the signal dies, do not mistake this as an ending. The signal never ends. It only drifts, finding other voices, other wounds, other ghosts who refuse to rest. Tonight you listened, you stepped closer to the veil, but listening carries a price. Once you hear their voices, they will not let you forget. Stay with me, subscribe to the signal, and be ready when it bends again. For tomorrow or the night after, it may carry a voice from your city, your street, or your reflection. Lean closer, wanderer. The next story is already waiting.